Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J-Dawg.
Mike, it's good to see you again. Today is a celebration of the NFL season for all the teams except yours.
Well, hold on. First of all, a lot of stuff happened. I don't really truly understand what's going on. We got Sam Darnold, so the Seahawks have acquired Sam Darnold. I don't know if there was a bidding war for Sam Darnold, but it doesn't seem like it because it seemed like Steelers, Giants, seems like a lot of teams.
Well, there are teams. You just named two of them that don't have a quarterback, and the carousel's about to stop spinning, and there's not many quarterbacks left at this point. So we're going to talk about those two losers, the Steelers and the Giants. But I want to talk about your Seahawks. Loaded Geno, unloaded DK, brought in Sam Darnold. What's your emotions? This is all happening in real time, the last 48 hours.
Listen, Geno, we knew. Geno had to go. He got a great deal. Pete gave him a little deal over in Vegas. Pete got him a deal in Vegas. He's a happy man. I think the Seahawks fans are happy. I mean, we were more excited about Sam Howell last season than Geno. He didn't even play a snap, and we were excited.
I didn't think Geno was getting a third-round pick back for Seattle. I didn't think he was getting $40 million a year. Apparently, the Seahawks were willing to pay like 30 or 35, which is what Sam got at 33. I didn't think Geno was worth all that. I think the Seahawks upgraded, but we were texting over the weekend before the Sam Darnold signing was official, and you, Michael, were not real excited.
I wasn't. Listen, so there's a lot of stats. If you look last year, Geno's actually accurate. He was great under pressure. All the stats say he's like an elite quarterback. Now, it is weird that Seattle's getting a lot of former Jets first-round picks. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, they're all coming to Seattle. I don't know what it is, but yeah, Geno's gone. Sam Darnold's there. I don't know how I feel about Sam Darnold because at the end of the season, we saw how he kind of like his value dropped during that last playoff game. We said, this is Sam Darnold that we knew all along. This is what we're getting. Seattle doesn't have a good offensive line. They got a ton of picks now. They have I think they have 10 in the first like 7 rounds or something. So they have like a first.
That's all they have.
All
they have are picks. The cupboard is empty outside of the picks. And they're going to be a very young team. And so they're going to surround Sam Darnold with young players on both sides of the ball. That's what's sketchy to me. But my question to you is here's how I would look at it. Okay. DK traded to Pittsburgh. We're going to break down the Pittsburgh aspect of this. He got a new contract for $30 million a year. Yeah. Now, Sam Darnold goes to Seattle. He got a new contract, Mike, for $33 million a year. Who would you rather have? If you could only have one, would it be DK or Sam Darnold?
You know, I still remember him getting drafted with Pete, just like shirts off, having a good time with DK. DK's a vibe guy. Don't know much about Sam Darnold, but he got to have a quarterback. And that's the problem.
Yes, that's the answer. You answered your own question. It's the quarterback. And that's what the Seahawks did. Yeah. It's what the Steelers aren't doing. And so we'll talk about the Steelers in a minute. But your two teams, mutual friends, Steelers going one way, Seahawks going the other. I know they're young. I know they have receivers to add, offensive linemen to add. I think they had a great day by getting rid of some older guys and bringing in a guy who we trust in Sam Darnold.
But we also have to, like, last season wasn't like a dud of a season. They had 10 wins. They almost made the playoffs.
But they peaked with Geno. Like, that's as good as they can get with Geno and DK. And they didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't even crawl in as a 7 seed. So I totally understand saying we weren't good enough with Geno. Let's try something else.
Do you actually think Sam Darnold is going to be better than Geno? There's no weapons. They have JSN there as the wide receiver. They have Bobo.
The only one.
They got Bobo there, too. That's it. I mean, they have running backs. We got Charbonnet and Walker. But I don't know. It feels weird because they did well, and then they just like burned the team down.
I think it's going to work. I love the coaching staff. Okay. I love Clint Kubiak. Comes from a long line. The bloodline is strong with Gary Kubiak. His father was a head coach on those Denver Broncos teams with Elway, Shannon Sharp, McCaffrey, Rod Smith, Terrell Davis. They know what a good offense looks like. Now his son is the new offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. You should be excited about that. McDonald, the head coach, he's changing the guard. I like the moves for Seattle. They're going to add a lot of draft picks. I like it for them. I don't know. I think you maybe should get a Las Vegas Raiders gear, season tickets, anything around the Las Vegas, because that's your new squad with Pete and Geno.
Let's talk Raiders. I don't know. It's weird because it feels like not a lot of teams are doing stuff, and then there's some teams that are just like doing everything, like the Steelers, Raiders. Listen, as you know, last week I bet on the Raiders to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if this actually helps my Super Bowl bet.
This was the day that Honora was up for Best Picture, and you said free money on 2 bets in my life. Yeah. One is on Honora for Best Picture. The other one is Raiders winning the Super Bowl. It turns out you were more correct than anyone could have thought.
I don't know what's going to happen with the Raiders this season, but they did need a quarterback. Like I said, I thought they had talent. I thought there were guys there I really liked last year for fantasy that just never panned out because they didn't have a quarterback. So I like what they did there. Geno is a capable guy that can plug a hole. And it sounded like Tom Brady was a big part of it. Putting meetings together, getting people in the room, getting Pete together. It's just like, we're getting Geno, because they were going after. It looked
Stafford.
like
they were tampering with Stafford in Montana.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't know if Brady brought Geno on the skis to Montana. I can't quite see that.
Yeah.
Maybe a different kind of meetup. Maybe a different meetup with Geno more his speed. Listen, for the Raiders, I think it's okay. It's a stopgap. It's a name, as we talk about, to get people to go to Las Vegas games. I told you the Las Vegas economy is struggling. We need to get bigger names in there for the Raiders, and they did that.
Sorry,
with
mate.
Geno.
ESPN just started making volume on my screen here.
We didn't hear it. We didn't even hear it.
Oh, good. I got ESPN on my screen. I'm just making
you.
sure we see everything.
I know you're trying to stay live during free agency, but we're live. We're live too, Mike. I like what the Raiders are doing so far. I think Geno is a dome QB. There's some stats out there on him where the Seattle weather, not so good for Geno. The dome is where it's at. In the AFC West, they're going to play a lot of indoor dome games, with the Chargers also having a dome in the division. So, listen, they're not going to win the division. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl, as you say. But Geno and Pete, they can get fans in the seats. They can sell tickets. And that's what the NFL is about in a lot of ways. Maybe they'll go 8-9 this year is about what I see them going. It's not like they're going to be good, right?
Listen, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Did we think Denver was going to be good with a rookie quarterback? We couldn't predict that. We don't know what's going to happen in the draft. I'm hoping some big moves happen, because it seems pretty boring right now for the first few
I feel like
picks.
There's been so many moves. DK, Myles Garrett staying.
Right
now.
For
the Raiders specifically.
No, I'm just saying right now it's fun, but I'm talking about the draft. Like, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of moves in the draft. I was hoping Seattle would like trade a few of these picks away, get some higher picks, but I don't think that's happening anymore. They're just
not for quarterback, maybe for other positions. They still need a receiver. I mean, they went to Ohio State for JSN. There's a stud wide receiver named Emeka Egbuka in this year's draft. Why don't you go get another Ohio State stud receiver to pair with JSN to give Darnold these weapons? Because you're right, they need weapons on the outside for Darnold, or else what's the point? In Minnesota, he had a ton of them, and it worked out well.
So one fear I have is that Sam Darnold played with maybe top 3 wide receiver in the league, and now he's playing with, let's say, top 20 receivers in the league.
It's concerning, but why did Sam Darnold succeed in Minnesota? If we're going to break down that question, was it because of Jefferson? Was it because of O'Connell? Was it because of the dome? Was it because he's finally maturing at age 30 and he didn't understand it earlier? Like, what reason is it? I don't think it was Jefferson. I think it was more the offensive system maturing. I told you he's a better bet than Brock Purdy. He's better than a lot of guys, even in his own division. I think it's okay for Seattle. I know you're going through it, Mike. Just get a Raiders hoodie and try to straddle this bandwagon. Whoever's better by week 5, just pick a team, do the usual thing. You know?
Should I get a DK jersey too over at the Steelers?
Well, shirtless DK, paint on abs for DK.
So what do you think about DK to the Steelers? I thought they got a good pick for him, right? 2nd round pick for DK. Thought that was solid.
Well, you wanted a 1st round pick for a while. You were negotiating with me at one point yesterday for Tyreek Hill, and you were asking for picks plus Tyreek. I was like, you're not good at this negotiation. I think Tyreek's better than DK. I don't know. Was a 2nd enough? It's like around 51st, right?
I mean, I guess if you're not going to pay him, because it seemed like his contract was up, they got to pay him anyway. So it had to be a team that was willing to give him a new contract. So,
well, I never like that deal when a team goes out and trades for a guy. You give up a pick and then you give out the money too. So it's like, wait, I just did 2 things. I gave up a pick and I give out the money. When you're in free agency, you only give out the money. When you're trading for guys with 3 years left, you're only giving out the pick. The Steelers did the cardinal sin of giving up multiple things for DK. Yeah. And Mike, you look around, the quarterback carousel, as we mentioned, it's spinning to a close. Yeah. Daniel Jones, Jameis Winston are the best guys out there. The Steelers don't have a QB. Apparently, they were trying to get Justin Fields, and Justin Fields was like, no, I went 4-2 for you, and you benched me. I'm not going back there. I'm happy he went to the Jets. Schefter was reporting that the Steelers were trying to talk to Fields and negotiate. Fields was like, I'm in Dubai. I'm going to the Jets. Don't worry about me, Pittsburgh. I think he's pissed that he went 4-2 and got benched.
Well, yeah, it is weird because it's like Steelers have a different problem. They don't have a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is still there. Seems like Aaron Rodgers might be the lead right now for the quarterback, or Minnesota might be getting him.
Can you imagine that in Minnesota? Can you see Tomlin and Rodgers together?
I really can't, because I feel like that's a lot of ego and a lot of like, I know what I'm doing here. I've been around for a while. They've both been around for a while, and I don't see that fitting too well, even though a lot of talent. And it seems like Aaron Rodgers always wants Devontae. It seemed like that was like part of it too. It's like, if I go to the Giants, I want Devontae to come with me, but he's been signed to the Rams, which
I think Rodgers wanted to go to the Rams when they were trying to trade Stafford too. But finally, Devontae is going elsewhere. I think the Steelers are in a terrible position. They're paid the receiver. They gave up the pick, as we just went through. They have no one to throw him the ball. Even Kenny Pickett is on the move to Cleveland today, and Pittsburgh still doesn't have a quarterback, as Kenny Pickett is getting signed. That's how you know the options are dwindling. So what's the point of DK and all this money if you don't have anyone to throw him the ball, or Russell Wilson's throwing the ball?
Russell's not going there. Russell's going to be another quarterback somewhere else. But I would love Jameis there. Jameis, I feel like, would fit in perfectly. He loves to sling that ball around. He got his LASIX. He can see now. Tomlin will control that ball control a little bit. Could be a good fit. Might be cheap. Get him over there, play for a little bit.
We think Jameis is probably the best quarterback option out there. I think a lot of people think Rodgers is still better. Jameis probably goes in the locker room a little better. He'll defer to Tomlin.
Yeah.
After being around for a while, he probably fits. Let DK be the leader. Jameis will feed him the ball. I think that makes so much more sense than Rodgers. Although if Rodgers goes there, get your popcorn out because we have content all year, all offseason. Tomlin, Rodgers, Metcalf. Bad. Is Najee still there? I think he's a free agent.
I think he's going.
Arthur Smith, by the way, the Steelers offensive coordinator, is known for not getting the number one guy the ball, and you just give DK $150 million. It's like the Steelers are setting themselves up for failure, and I love it from this vantage point.
It's a sad day for mutual friend. I feel like he's really trying to hype himself up for Aaron Rodgers if he comes there. It's like, oh, he was good last year. It takes
mutual friend's gonna have some problems with that for a lot of reasons.
It takes 2 years to come back from an Achilles tear and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, sure he does.
He's 42. I know what you and mutual friend feel like in the morning as 37-year-olds at this point. I don't know about a 42-year-old.
I know. Well, it's been a wild weekend. I'm excited for the draft. I'm really excited to see what the Seahawks do. Seems like they got a lot of picks. Hopefully they get some talent.
And they have a lot of money left in free agency. By getting rid of Geno and DK's numbers, they save more money, and so they signed Darnold. There's still room to go. You mentioned Devontae Adams to the Rams. That's a big move for them. I feel like they're retooling in the right way. Cooper Kupp is out. Mm-hmm. Adams is in. Puka becomes the number one receiver. You were right on Puka last year. They bring back Stafford. Who's the best team in that division now? Is it the Seahawks, the Rams, or someone else?
Well, definitely, I don't think the Cardinals right now. We're not looking at the Cardinals.
No, it's not the Niners. They've been pretty quiet, right?
They have, but I feel like they signed Brock. They got him a deal, right? It wasn't a great deal.
Is it signed yet?
I thought they offered him a decent deal. Look it up. But I thought they offered him a deal to stay. It wasn't top tier, but I thought he was getting $30 million. Wasn't it a three-year deal, or am I just reading fake news everywhere?
I didn't know that finished. I didn't know he signed that contract. Yeah, he didn't sign it yet. He didn't.
So if he didn't sign it, I guess he's got some leverage because who else is going to go out there? But
I've been telling you they should have went for Darnold or someone else instead, but they didn't. I think this positions the Seahawks as maybe the best team. I'm right there with the Rams. Rams only have 1 or 2 years left. They're bringing in the veterans at this point with Stafford and Devontae Adams. I think McVay will leave when those guys leave. Mike, I got to tell you, I was trying to keep up with all the news today. A lot going on, and my favorite news source, Twitter, was down on NFL free agency day. Not a good look at all.
Yeah, a lot of hacking going on. So I guess it was down. I didn't even notice it was down. I was trying to use Grok, and I'm like, why isn't anything loading? So I went to ChatGPT, and I'm like, I didn't even think about it.
You went to ChatGPT for free agent news?
No, I was just trying to type. I use Grok, the X AI, whatever. I use their AI because Grok is, I don't know, it's so good right now, and because it pulls also data from Twitter, so you can get updated news, but also if you want to research anything, it's good because people will comment and talk about stuff, so it kind of pulls in that data too.
I like Grok. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But I thought you meant you were going to ChatGPT and the signings were there before they were on the internet. That would be a new level of AI, predicting the models before they sign.
Grok did predict all the Oscar winners 100%. So I just want to let you know that.
Well, that's good to know. Maybe Grok should do our mock draft, and I should challenge Grok in the mock draft in April and see who does better.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, we could do that.
I just want to mention, though, I went to Threads today. I was on Adam Schefter's Threads getting free agent news. That's how bleak it is without Twitter. And so, it's all fun and games. Everyone jokes, why do you rely on Twitter? It is a true news source.
Yeah.
It used to be much better. It's worse now. And on days like today, it is essential, and it cannot go down during breaking news moments. Whoever hacked him, Mike, did not hack him on NFL free agency day on purpose. I can't imagine that.
You don't think so? You don't think it was on purpose?
I can't imagine that. No.
It is weird. I feel like Threads gets shoved on me a lot when I'm on Instagram and I click it. I don't even have the app downloaded, and it's no, I don't want to go to Threads.
They want you to download the app after you click on it, and I never do. But today I was in there on Adam Schefter's Threads.
How was it?
I didn't want to be.
Anything change? Does it look kind of like Twitter? I feel like you couldn't do anything before.
It's a worse interface. It's worse. Everything's worse.
Okay.
It's not for me. I don't think anyone's there either, but that was crazy. By the way, breaking news just came down. The Washington Commanders just solidified their offensive line for Jalen Daniels, acquiring Laramie Tunsil. This is the famous gas mask bong guy. He got the night he was drafted, he had a picture of a gas mask bong from his girlfriend. That was years ago. Ended up on the Dolphins. He slid way down. They traded him to the Texans. Now the Texans trade him to the Commanders for some picks. They're protecting Jalen Daniels.
It's great.
I think the Commanders are the big winner as they surround him with more acquisitions. And again, my big loser is the Steelers. The wide receiver means nothing without the quarterback. It is so silly and stupid to trade draft capital and spend money when you don't have a good plan at QB.
So who are your top 3 in order? What quarterback would you like to go there that would actually make you change your mind on that? That's available. Or even a rookie.
My friend wasn't excited about Sam Darnold, and I was trying to tell him, yeah, that's who you want throwing a DK. That's exactly the kind of guy you want. Other people out there, does he want to trade for Tua Tagovailoa? And a lot of Dolphins fans want him to go somewhere else.
What's going on with Dolphins? No moves, nothing at all.
I think their GM is asleep today. Okay. I don't think he was aware that free agency began because they have not made a signing. I think they're the only team. They have money. They have some money.
I mean, just so you know, I don't think Jerry made any signings either.
What's Jerry doing?
Jerry's chilling. He's on a yacht somewhere. He doesn't have time for this.
Micah Parsons, apparently, when the Myles Garrett extension came through, Micah Parsons made like $30 million when that came through, and the Cowboys could have just signed Micah Parsons prior to that contract. They always wait. Remember, they waited till till opening day of the season. They always do this, and they always screw themselves. So classic Jerry. You want to talk about the LeBron Stephen A confrontation at the game? I do. Should we talk about Magic Mind first?
We can. We don't need to. They're not a sponsor, but if you just want to talk about them,
I love them. I thought they were still a sponsor.
They're no longer a sponsor.
Did they drop us or did we drop
them? No, we fulfilled our contract needs with Magic Mind, so we still have a lot. We do still love it, but we don't have to talk about them.
We'll just save that for when we do have to talk about them. We love Magic Mind. No hard feelings there. I do want to talk about Stephen A. and LeBron. So this happened. This is also on my list, Mike. Stephen A., first of all, speaking of new contracts in free agency, no one is getting richer in free agency than Stephen A. Smith. He signed the original big deal, 5 for $100 million. That's going to end up being more guaranteed money than DK probably makes. It's more money than Darnold is going to make. Congrats to Stephen A. I think, is he worth $20 million a year?
I couldn't really name any other people left at ESPN. They're canceling shows. They're just, I don't know what they do anymore, really. Like, I had it on all day and I'm just like, does it matter? Like, the news seems to be faster than they can keep up with their graphics on TV almost. Like, back in the day, they could have time because it's like news dropped and then they could go onto the 5 p.m. ESPN. But now, I don't know. I don't know what ESPN's doing. I'm kind of worried for them.
You're worried for ESPN. I feel like they're just going the superstar route. They got McAfee for 25 mil, Stephen A. for 25 mil. The crazy thing is, this is how Stephen A.'s leverage works. He is going to do less TV for more money in this new contract. He is no longer on the NBA show. He's stepping away from that. He's only going to do First Take. He's allowed to do other shows for other networks. So he's getting $20 million a year from ESPN. He's starting a Sirius XM show. Okay. He will continue his YouTube show where he monetizes that, sells his own ads, and keeps 100% of the revenue. And he will explore political endeavors. Apparently, Mike, he's going on a tour throughout America.
I saw that.
Did you see this one with Bill O'Reilly and Chris Cuomo? Really setting himself up in good company there.
I find it interesting because I saw him on The View the other day talking and he wants to be a politician. And I feel like he's really good at it because he spins it. He has that calm voice, when he's like, let me tell you, he like spit. Like, if you watch him on The View, you're like, oh, I can see you as a politician. You made the ladies calm. You told them they're wrong and then told them why. And I'm like, all right, Stephen A., I guess you got it.
But he doesn't want to campaign. He's talked openly about, like, I will run for president if I don't have to campaign. Like, how does that work? Maybe you can just campaign on an iPhone going forward and, like, you don't have to go to all these states because everything is so connected.
Yeah, I don't know how it really works. I think, like, in a way, maybe like Trump's strategy kind of proved that you don't really need the campaign. You could just do podcasts. So if he has his own platform, he could just sit on his podcast all day and just interview people, and I guess that would work for him. I don't know. It's kind of fun. I don't know if people would vote for him, but he says he's polling higher than most. That's what he said on The View.
And I think all the Democrats are polling at 3%, so it's easy to say that. I think me and you, the TSH boys, would poll at 3% for the Democratic Party right now. But the point that you were bringing up is the LeBron confrontation, which happened in your backyard in LA there. So LeBron, this was during a game. Yeah. Stephen A. sitting courtside. LeBron gets up during a timeout, whether it's like between the third and fourth quarter, something like that. This was a game that went to overtime. Like, it was a close game throughout. There were no blowouts. And LeBron confronted Stephen A. on video, which is great. We've had lip readers. I feel like there's been audio out there basically saying, don't put Bronny's name in your mouth. Keep my son out of this shit. So LeBron was saying this as a father, not a player. What's your reaction to it?
Well, that's how Stephen A. pitched it. And I feel like he's like, because I listened to, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes of like his like intro or whatever. It was a long video that he was talking about it. And he's like, I didn't want to mention anything about it until it like went viral the next day. And he's like, oh, I guess I got to talk about it. So I don't know. I feel like, is LeBron getting to a point now where he's like trying to protect Bronny too much? Like, we know he's bad. We know you got him on the Lakers. There's not much more else you can do. Like, you've done your job. Let him play. Let people critique him. Bronny needs it. He's not going to be, he's going to be gone in what, 2 years or something? He has a contract with the Lakers, which is also crazy. Yeah. When LeBron's gone, that man is also gone and going somewhere and probably not on an NBA team. So I don't know.
I agree. It's insane that LeBron is able to wield this power and act like his son is a 12-year-old who should be kept out of the public light. When LeBron built this monster himself, he forced his own team to draft his own son. No way. We've seen him play. We talked about it exclusively on the show. Pulling up the stats from USC, there's no way a real team would have drafted him in the first round. It was only because LeBron forced them to. Remember, Bronny was like tanking interviews with others, saying, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going there anyway. It was all set up. LeBron asked for this himself. His son is like his own name. It's like he's not even trying to, he didn't call him Michael or anything else. He called him Bronny. It's like the whole thing is set up to talk about him, yet you don't want to talk about him. And it's like these people who crave attention in the world. We all know them, Mike. And then they get in front of you and they're like, wait, why are you talking about me? What is this about? Don't keep my name out of your mouth. No, you drawed up all this attention. You wanted us talking about you. That is LeBron. That is Bronny. I think Stephen A is well within his right to be even harsher on Bronny and LeBron. And I don't think LeBron should be coming up to media during games. Like, is JJ Redick getting in his face and say, focus on the game? No, they're buddies. They're podcast friends. It goes back to that whole issue from last year. So the Lakers are winning games, I guess, but I don't like how this whole thing is going down.
I just think LeBron's at the point, it's like when old people just start saying wild things. That's where LeBron's at this. And he's not even that old, but he's been in the league so long, he just feels like I can say whatever I want.
In NBA years. He's old.
Yeah. He's like an 80-year-old in NBA years. That's basically what he is right now. So
that is true. They won 8 straight recently until they lost over the weekend, and then LeBron got hurt, pulled groin. Mike, he's playing right here in Brooklyn in an hour, except he's not playing. Only Luke is playing over here because LeBron is out for 1 to 2 weeks. We'll see how they roll in this time. But I know you made a bet live on the show a few weeks ago. That's looking good.
I love these live bets on the show because I feel like they're better bets than I actually make by myself. So hopefully all these come true.
That is true. One more note on Sports Media and Stephen A. I just want to pour one out for Around the Horn. This was a show that we kind of grew up on in the early 2000s, sports debate before it got all Stephen A-ified, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it's just sad to me. Around the Horn has been canceled. Last show's in a few months in May. Not that I was watching it recently. Not that I'm like a big fan in the last 10 years or anything. But it's sad to me that Stephen A. is commanding $100 million contracts. The shouting, the screaming, the scandals that he brings, and like the pure talk of like Woody Page and Jay Mariotti, the sports writers who started at ESPN in 2000. Like, that show is gone, but Stephen A. is still here. It's like kind of a sad way that the world has gone in that way.
It's just interesting in the world of like media right now. It almost feels like when you're popular, you become bigger than the brand itself. So it's like, do we think of Stephen A. over ESPN, or do we think of like whatever it was, like Tucker Carlson was bigger than Fox News? Like, it's weird how these things are spinning that way. Almost, it's like these independent, but they become Goliaths almost, like a Joe Rogan or all these podcasts and independent media. So I think that's an interesting take on it all. And I feel like maybe that is what ESPN's doing, but also it kind of sucks for all the other content that people, I don't even know if people watched it, but also they never digitized anything. They never put it on any other platforms for anybody to see. So I think that was the hard part about it, because nowadays you see clips of everything everywhere that you want to watch. And you're like, oh, SNL does a really good job of trying to make their clips go viral and put it out there. And I see clips. I'm like, oh yeah, that is funny. I can't wait.
Their whole show's available like via 3-minute clips.
Yeah. So it's like, that's what they kind of have to lean into at this point. And it kind of sucks that ESPN isn't doing it and just making like one-off Disney Plus, ESPN, Sports Center shows that probably no one's going to watch.
These people do have to be careful. You talk about the brand or the person. Like, major names have left thinking that they are bigger than the brand, like Don Lemon and even Tucker Carlson. Like, I know he's on X and other places right now. He just interviewed Sam Bankman-Fried. I don't know what platform I watched that on. I don't know if Tucker's monetizing it. I watched it, but it's like,
direct from the prison
Tucker?
feed.
Who's he working for, right? It's like, what is going on with these guys? And so very few, like Stephen A. maybe can. Pat McAfee did. Very few people are bigger than the brand.
Yeah, but you have to think about it, though. It's almost like you don't have to be bigger than the brand, but the amount of money they're pulling in, like, for sure, Theo Von, like, might not be the most popular, might not be the biggest, but for sure brings in millions of dollars a year just sitting there talking to random people every week. And that's probably what Don Lemon was hoping for. Don Lemon seems to he went a little crazy after being independent. But like, I think Tucker must make tons of money just from ad revenue on his own show because he gets 100% of it instead of sharing it with the network. So I think that's how.
But if he was on a contract, like Hannity's probably making $15 million a year from Fox, is Tucker making more than $15 million a year owning his own? It's hard to say. I haven't dug into it, but it'd be interesting.
You want me to search it real quick? How much does
this is a rabbit hole I never envisioned.
Make on his podcast?
I did watch a Sam Bankman-Fried interview. Sam Bankman-Fried got in trouble. He got put in solitary confinement for doing the interview. It's like, you never checked on this man?
I have okay, so he was earning $15 million, $20 million at Fox. His contract.
So that's his break even if he gets back to 50.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. It's not giving me a direct answer. So for the podcast alone, might be making $20 million, they say, plus some X ads, so maybe like $26 million.
There's very few podcasts, as we know, making that much money around here.
Yes.
We did the math on Russillo one time. He's making good money, and Bill Simmons in the sports world. Obviously, Pardon My Take, the Barstool guys, Tucker and Theo Von and Joe Rogan and politics and other things. There's not a ton clearing that number, so good for Tucker.
Yeah, you just have to, it's weird. It's like, listen, we've been doing the show for 15 years, and we're not bringing in millions of dollars, but it's like that one viral clip that pushes us over the edge. That makes you the millions of dollars that you've wanted for years. And I think that's like the key to podcasting. You just have to either be a name already or do something outrageous. And then you get a bunch of people to follow you and listen to your podcast.
Mike, how are we going to make that one viral moment without the VA cutting clips of us?
We had some clips last week. We had some AI clips last week.
I was wondering who cut those.
Yeah, AI. It's AI. Okay. It's great. All right, I do have some WNBA news. I did a whole deep dive with Grok. I did a deep dive. I was like, Angel Reese is saying we're going to, what are they going to do? They're going to, the CBA is coming up and they want to sit out. They want to strike. So I'm like, oh, well, how are they going to do that? How are they going to get more money? So they right now, they have a minimum of $57,000 they make or $68,000. And I guess maximum can be like $215,000. And I guess they get some bonuses. So I wrote, how can they make more money? I said, what are the options they could do? So they could leverage the media rights deal, which is $2.2 billion for WNBA. So obviously it's been growing. And they can advocate for revenue sharing and split it with some of their models. So right now, the WNBA gets 30% of revenue sharing. I think the NBA gets 50%. But then I said, okay, give me the fight me against that. Like, tell me why this can't happen. Like, why couldn't the WNBA do this? Like, if the WNBA strikes, what would happen? And they said the WNBA financial landscape is totally different. The NBA brings in $2.1 billion in profits, where this is really bad. The WNBA incurs losses nearly $10 million every year. They're also subsidized by the NBA. The NBA pays the WNBA. Now, they've obviously grown in some viewership, but last year it was like 20 million per game, or not viewers per game, and WNBA finals only had 400,000. So I don't know what to make of it, but I found it interesting because it's like, what are they going to do if they actually sit out? And it sounds like they're going to try to sit out and not play. And I think it starts in like 2 months or something.
I think they're seeing a lot of revenue from Caitlin Clark, from off-court things, from other leagues, like the Unrivaled League, like the 3-on-3 apparently is a big deal. I had a coworker recently go down to a game in Miami, sat below the rim because you can like sit courtside for like $20, and like Brittany Griner played, and they're like really good down there. It's like not expensive to go to, and still a great experience, unlike the NBA, which you could never sit courtside for. So I think there's a lot of competition out there. They want to make their money, but you're right. The NBA is subsidizing the WNBA. I kind of knew that because think about all the costs that go into the WNBA with travel, with the arenas, with food, with hotels, all the things.
Remember when the WNBA, the season started last year and we said it looked a little weird? It's because they shut off lights to save like hundreds of thousands of dollars during the game.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Came up in your research?
They shut off some of the lights in the stadium, so you don't.
And they don't sell those seats, so it looks like it's like blacked out, like a curtain would be over.
Even the court is like not as bright as a regular NBA broadcast.
But that is crazy. But they are entering a new TV deal with new TV partners. Not this season. That starts after the next season. So maybe it'll be resolved by then. I think they would have new revenue coming in if this new NBA deal, right? Amazon and NBC paid so much more than TNT was paying. So it makes sense that money flows to the WNBA because those games will be on those places too. So maybe Angel just has to get through this year and then the new TV money starts and she'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll see. I was just interesting. I was like arguing against the AI. Telling me.
Speaking of basketball arenas, I don't know if you heard this, Mike, but mutual friend went to a Clippers game, the new Inglewood arena, Steve Ballmer's Clippers place, and he got food poisoning at the game
Not good.
from a hot dog. I was going to say street meat, but it was inside hot dog. So it was an inside hot dog. Gave him food poisoning. I know he's had a lawyer write a letter to Steve Ballmer. He's looking for that bag from Steve Ballmer because he got sick at his arena.
I guess you could prove it, but you'd have to go to like the hospital or something, right? To like say you're actually sick, or do you just claim that you got sick?
Yeah, we need some evidence. Maybe a bag of puke that they can do a DNA test.
We got to
on,
call
get some hot dog in there.
our lawyer friend up and find out.
I think so, because let's get the bag from Ballmer. You can't be getting sick in year one of an NBA arena. I mean, this place has the most urinals. It has the fan wall. It's very expensive. They got to be serving safe food at a minimum.
Are you sure he didn't have any street meat? Because last time I went to a game with him, that man was buying everything on the way in and eating as much and drinking as much on the way in.
Listen, mutual friend yakking at 9:45 p.m. is nothing new, so I'm not going to say there were no nefarious things going on here. Who knows the direct cause of it? But I was told food poisoning.
It sucks. It really does.
And then his team doesn't have a quarterback 2 days later, so he's still throwing up.
What a weekend for him. What a weekend. Check out thesportshangover.com. Go subscribe to us on YouTube and Substack. Go there. Share it with friends. Tell them about the podcast so we can be one of the podcasters making $20 million a year. That'd be great. All right. Good show. See you.